Thank you, VOG. That was a stellar introduction. So what are we doing at Outlook? Y'all are quite familiar with bevacizumab. It's a molecule that's been around for a long time, but we believe that we have an opportunity to actually enhance the standard of care. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll see why we feel like an honest to goodness FDA approval in ophthalmology for bevacizumab is going to be beneficial. We're a public company. This is our disclaimer. Thank you for reading that. We're doing the best we can to be accurate. Our plan is to be able to bring to the marketplace a drug that's actually differentiated. So our drug's being designed to meet the standards, very strict standards that FDA requires for ophthalmology. It might surprise you to know that that currently does not exist in the marketplace today in terms of a bevacizumab that meets the requirements that we're going to have to meet. In addition, our product obviously is going to go straight from the factory to the customer and avoid the vagaries of associated with repackaging a drug out of the compounding pharmacy environment. And then in addition to that, we're working on a delivery system that will be specifically designed for these doctors, for these patients, for these conditions in retina. This is the team we have put together. I'm especially pleased to have Jeff and Terry on the team. I'm sure anybody who's been in eye care and in retina knows Jeff and Terry, or they're not alive. But you know, the thing I love about these gentlemen is they make great decisions based on data. And in my first 40 years, that's not always the case with folks on your team. And then, of course, we have Dr. Kumayan, who really keeps us between the guardrails in terms of what doctors and patients expect from us. Big marketplace that we're dealing in, 13 billion on a global basis. And you can see the majority of this is wet AMD. That's our first indication that will get approved. And if you segment out this market in terms of the number of injections, our data indicates that a molecule called bevacizumab that was designed for a drip IV occupies about 50% of the injections. We expect to step into that space and really compete vigorously. What do I mean by differentiation? If you look at the green versus the yellow and the red, the green represents the standards that we have to meet to get an FDA approval and to maintain an FDA approval. Whether it's sterility, whether it's FDA approved packaging, stability associated with your shelf life, particulates or lack thereof, the pH level, potency, osmolarity, endotox level, and all the cGMP requirements that we have to live to. We have to meet all this stuff to get an FDA approval. And we have to maintain that stuff to maintain our FDA approval. Might surprise you that today's version of bevacizumab does not meet those same requirements in ophthalmology. And we don't have to wonder if things can go wrong. This has been pretty well documented, whether it's in peer review articles in JAMA that talked about inconsistent protein concentration in 81% of the samples that they looked at, whether it's FDA warning letters. You know, there have been unfortunate situations with endophthalmitis. And of course, even ASRS has had to make some statements around inconsistencies in packaging. So we want to make the vagaries associated with the compounding process just go away. They probably don't improve the drug that gets there. And if we can eliminate this repackaging step, we think there's some real positive things associated with that. These are the 3 studies that the company performed. Patient enrollment is completed. The Norse 2 data will be presented by Faraz at the Academy meeting, but we did put out a press release that talked through what the top line data looked like. This Norse 2 trial, which was our pivotal trial, had to go well. It was randomized mass controlled trial, had our bevacizumab arm against Lucentis, 228 patients, all in the United States. Over 95% of these patients were treatment naive, so they've had no previous treatments. And these are the data that we're going to use to support our BLA submission. The way this regimen operated is FDA requires us as an original BLA filer to do monthly injections so we can see what the effect of real bevacizumab designed for an ophthalmic approval looks like. And the Lucentis arm did the so-called peer regimen, which is an FDA approved regimen in their filing. It included 3 loading doses followed by quarterly injections. And what did we find? We found 41% of our patients were 3-line gainers. Was it statistically significant, though? We got an extra digit on the statistical significant, 0.005 in our ITT population, showing that 41% is a real number. And when you look at the key secondary endpoints, 11.2 letters were gained on average. How about the statistical significance on that? 0.0043. We think these data are stellar, and we're looking forward to having Firas reveal the data writ large beyond just this top line data, but we were really happy to see how this turned out. I always love these safety data slides. We're going to obviously have hundreds of tables associated with the BLA filing. I think the most spectacular thing you can say about this, there was nothing unusual from a safety standpoint. Our safety and the safety associated with the ranibizumab arm looked remarkably similar. Our factory partners that we're working with are Fujifilm Diosynth and Ajinomoto. These are both seasoned companies who have been through the paces with FDA. We have tremendous confidence in their ability to get through successful FDA audits. We're also working with a best-in-class partner on a pre-filled syringe delivery system that we're trying to create an opportunity, a delivery system for the doctor where they won't have to worry about silicone oil droplets ending up in the vitreous cavity. So our mission is to enhance the standard of care, to get the first honest-to-goodness FDA approval in ophthalmology for bevacizumab. Big market opportunity. Our data are compelling and highly statistically significant. We aim to launch directly in the United States, and we'll look for opportunities to license this perhaps outside of the United States. The first FDA approval for bevacizumab. It's been a long time in coming. Doctors want it, payers want it, and we really appreciate your time and letting us tell that story today. Thank you.